This story, also known as, if you want to say the title here.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I'll do it because it's like
Based.
really obnoxious. It's like the Too Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiancé and sold to another kingdom, also known as Kanpeki Sugite Kawaige Kanai no Konyaku Haki Sareta Seijo wa Ringoku ni Urareru, also known as Kanpeki Seijo or Perfect Saint, is localization abbreviation. And I believe this is a light novel original that got adapted later into manga, right? As well, and obviously now an anime. So
What? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
call this an isekai spy? I don't think I'd call this an isekai. It is.
I would not. It's like
It's. Would you call? Is this villainous? Is this villainous? I think it's villainous.
I don't even think
Okay,
it's
Was she a
it's
villainous.
villainous? Because like villainous is
no.
pretty specific now. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The closest thing I think it's honestly just like not it's like a mix between one of
Is
those
this
like
not
journey
just like a
series plus like
shoujo?
slow life. It's
it's
kind of no, it's like a josei kind of slow life ish kind of
it's
series.
Uh,
what's the other subgenre? Revenge. Revenge.
Revenge
Is
is I
revenge?
don't think it's revenge though, right?
She was cast out, right? The cast out party member
Yeah, but
slash
you
saint.
have to
What's
get
the?
the revenge part. You have to at least
I'll
want
I'll
the
get
revenge
I'll get
part.
I'll
Yeah.
get to that, but this is part of the cast out protagonist isekai series, right? But I wouldn't call it an isekai.
Yes, if
Ca-
they
uh,
are cast out,
It,
at least yes.
the cast out saint, I guess.
Mhm.
Is is this the first one we've had? I don't think so.
First one we've had what?
It's like, oh, yeah, this is right. Well, at least the first one I
I don't
reviewed,
know
where
what type of what type of series are you talking
this
about?
story where oh this the saintess slash princess was to the banished princess thing,
No, there's been one or two
banished
other series
villainess.
like that. There's
Uh,
been one or two other series like that.
the ballot.
no, because there's like one or two other series where there's a fiance and then she gets rejected and the fiance like the crown prince fiance whatever or duke whatever marries a another girl and then she gets tossed aside and
That's
then she ends
that's
up
part
living
of
a slow life kind of.
that's part of the banished villainess, but it's the part where oh she was actually so competent that her entire kingdom collapses without her.
Or
Is
she
that
just goes off and does her own thing. It's like it
eh,
doesn't necessarily have to collapse, but she just goes off and does her own thing. I think it's a little bit more similar to that,
all
right?
right, sure, whatever. Anyway, so the story is that there's this all-powerful saint named Philia Adenauer, and then she lives in the kingdom of they pronounce it as Ziltonia, but everyone knows it's Zirconia.
Serotonia.
Everyone knows it's Zirconia. You can't fool me. I know what you're doing. But yeah, and she's engaged to the second prince, whose name is Julius. But as it
Mhm.
turns out, Julius, as being the second prince, and there's the first prince. The first prince is bedridden, so but he has this inferior complex towards Philia because he was born into royalty. He's like, I'm the royalty. I'm the best. Everyone should bow down to me. But here comes this all perfect saint who's good at everything. She's not just a saint, but she also managed finances. You know, created some radical breakthroughs for her kingdom. Wrote a book, all that. Basically, the over basically ran the whole kingdom by herself. But her what and that but she has one flaw, and that is she rarely shows any emotions. Like she doesn't smile and whatnot.
Mm.
And so a lot of the people in the kingdom are afraid of her because she's not a kind on the outside, she's not the kind-hearted, like warm smile saint. She's like this cold person who gets things done, kind of like a machine. And so there's a lot of people who hate her because of this. Also, also because how she introduced all these new breakthroughs a lot of her opposition is like, hey, you're overstepping your boundaries. You should just be a saint and protect the kingdom with your magic barrier and whatnot. But yeah, and so uh, in the end, well, in the beginning, I guess Prince Julius hatches a plan with uh Philia's parents, who also hate her for some unexplained reason in the beginning. That like everyone thinks she's overstepping her boundaries and that she should just be a saint and that she's too cold. And so they hatch a plan to sell her off to the neighboring kingdom of what's it called? Panacorta. Get it? It's like panna cotta, but not. I don't know. Get it? Because they're trying to be sly like that, but they never are. But yeah, and everyone's like, "All right, you're getting too big for your britches. We're gonna sell you off to the neighboring kingdom, or rather, the neighboring kingdom bought her for a high price." And yeah, and then yeah, she's in exile. She gets exiled to Panacorta, and then in Panacorta, everyone treats her warmly, but because of the way the Filia managed the kingdom of Ziltonia, it's on the edge of collapse because she's the strongest saint in history or whatever, or the second one, I guess. And the way she managed the barriers that keep away the demon world and whatnot. So, in place of Philia, who got sold away, is her younger sister Mia. And then Julius is like, "Oh, your younger sister is super hot. I'm going to marry her instead because they were betrothed, but now she's not betrothed." And then she's all like, she was all like, wait, Julius, my sister did everything, and I'm not as strong of a saint as her." And then he's all like, "Shut up, woman. You're a woman. You're supposed to do as you're told, you woman."
True.
Because he hate, that very sexist kind of thing. You're
Uh-huh.
just supposed to be that pretty face. Just do the bare minimum. Your sister can do it, or don't overstep your boundaries like your sister. Just stay in the back, woman, kind of thing. That kind of person. But yeah, and
So
so there's so the yeah, and that's
so
about
the
it.
first episode, I mean, yeah, the initial kind of like setup is sort of her being treated poorly, and then she kind of goes over to Parnakara, right? So
Anacorta, and then everyone treats her warm, like, "Oh, thank God, our old saint just died, so now we have a new one. So she's being treated kindly over there."
So
Yeah.
what is the structure of the anime overall? I don't really, because there's a couple of ways it could be going after this, but I haven't watched the series yet. But it's like, is it just a slow life from there? Is it like one of those journey series where she kind of visits different people or visits outside of a country, kind of sees different stuff? Is it maybe more again as you like a potential like revenge kind of stuff? What is it? Is it like a romance? But I don't. Where does the
So,
story go?
the interesting thing about this series and why I wanted to cover is that there's actually two major subplots going on in here. There's the plot about Philia where she used to be so cold and aloof because of the way she was born, and her parents hated her, and most of the kingdom of Ziltonia hated her and whatnot. But when she's being exposed to people who like her over in Panacorta, she's slowly warming up and learning compassion and whatnot. Because it was mentioned that the reason why she's so cold and aloof and good at everything is because she was trained by the previous saint, and the previous saint forced her into some pretty Spartan training to make her like the best at being the saint. That's why they call her the all too perfect saint. So it was pretty Spartan training. They was like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave you in the mountains, and we're gonna sleep on a bed of needles to practice your magic power and whatnot." You know that kind of Spartan training. So that's why she's so good at everything. But in the end, because her parents, Philia's parents, always hated her, and saying like, "Oh, you should just do your job as a saint," and never treat her warmly. She never experienced human emotion in a way. So that's one part of the story where she's kind of learning how to, you know, feel emotions and love and whatnot. That's one part of the story happening over here in Panacorda. But there's also a second story happening over back in J- Jertonia with Mia.
Zirconia, Zirtonia, yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, sure. Because in a what is it? In a subversion of tropes, right? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Is this called a subversion? Where it's whenever there's a banished female protagonist, it's usually because the prince fell in love with like a conniving schemer type of woman who wanted to take over the kingdom instead because they were jealous, right?
Yeah.
In the subversive tropes, it actually turns out Mia really loves her sister and whatnot. So when Mia learned about what happened to her sister, she becomes the conniving villainess in a way, but she's
Oh,
doing it.
it's almost like a weird like scrambled version of what kind of happened in Osama ranking, right? Where it's like the mother is actually like a kind person, right? Yes, no, maybe so.
Kind of happened.
So yeah, it turns out she's the when Julius was saying like, "Oh Mia, you're so much cuter. You should marry me instead." Mia's like, "Ew, gross. Don't touch me. Look what you did to my sister." But on the outside, she's like, "Oh sure, I'll do it." But that's all in a way to get her revenge on the kingdom and everyone who wronged her. So it's refreshing in a way, but that Mia's not an antagonist, but also I would call her a secondary protagonist because she's going to enact her revenge on the entire kingdom just to get revenge for her sister. So instead of Philia getting revenge, it's now Mia getting revenge. So that's very
Oh, okay.
cool.
It's like
Yeah,
indirect, I guess, in a sense.
yeah. Is it indirect when she's the one scheming
Yeah,
behind
well,
the
I guess it's
scenes to
not too
overthrow the
indirect, but
second prince?
it's not the main kind of stuff, but yeah.
What do you mean not the main?
Because it's the sister, right? That's the kind of I guess she is part of the main cast though, so
Yeah. So yeah, what else is there to say? Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
can you
Like
go
I
over
met
audio visuals real quick?
no.
Okay.
Are there
It's
any?
pretty average, right?
Yes. This is the visuals indeed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty average audio visuals then. Okay, so
I don't know who's
uh
Troika.
Dude, they did fucking
I'll know zero.
Oh
Out No
no zero,
Zero,
hell
the
yeah.
goat. Yeah, dude.
Also they did a Sakura-san. Hell yeah, Sakura-san. El
Well,
Malloy.
do the visuals hold up to compared to those two series? I doubt it would, but I
Uh
could be wrong.
up to recreators? It's fine, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. They're
Well,
fine.
does this
I
series
don't
compare to them? Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. I don't There's nothing really wrong, but like the only bad thing I say is the usual, the CGI horse, because they have carriages. It's always the CGI horse.
Of course.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So I guess anything else? Any last words? I guess what Mal rating you might want to give it? Toast is dead.
I think he had an event.
Yeah. I'm
What?
gonna
Hello.
predict that
You
he's
good?
gonna give it
I
an eight,
spilled
a
I
nine.
spilled my
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, what else? Yeah.
What would you rate it?
so cool. I guess I should go over the voice actors. So, Philia Adenauer is voiced by Ishikawa Yui, which makes sense if you know her roles. Spire, what are her roles?
Doesn't she do mostly pretty like younger, light, airy kind of roles? But it's like she
Wrong.
does relatively calm.
Wrong. She
Okay.
voices Neon in G-Quux.
True.
I mean, there are other voices she does as well.
Yeah, like what?
So
To be.
uh, she's
Or not to
fucking
be.
Mikasa.
Yeah. Guess you know what those all have in
I
common?
mean, to be Mikasa, Violet.
Well, I guess
They
it's
all.
not light. It's a little
They
bit
kind of
lower.
all.
Yeah.
They kind of
Yeah,
all sound
Yeah.
the same.
gee, I wonder what do all these roles have in common?
They're fucking girl bosses.
They're all cool,
They're they're like credited
cool,
characters. Yeah.
cool protagonists who don't show a lot of emotion.
I got the cool
Gee,
part right. I just
and
didn't get
that
the voice range as correctly.
and that's
She
all, and that's what carries over when she's Philia. So I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um
and then Mia's voiced by Kaede Hondo. Who's this?
Kaede Hondo. I like know this voice actress, but I keep forgetting what role she does. Because she pops up in like radios and like podcasts all the time. So I always forget. Um what's her like really like big role? I keep forgetting. Oh, she did
Yeah,
do Zombieland Saga stuff. I forgot. She was like the
yeah.
main character in Zombieland Saga. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that makes sense as well, because she's supposed to be like the more energetic one and whatnot. I'm like,
Hmm.
damn, all right. Who else?
Right.
Kohei Amasaki is the second prince that everyone hates. Who are you?
He seems like a newer face, to be honest, or not. He's on a lot of
I
supporting
don't
roles,
know. It's
but he hasn't.
Hypnosis Mike. Near, did you do Hypnosis Mike?
No, dude.
No. Who did Hypnosis
What?
Mike?
I
I
don't.
don't think anybody
I don't
did
think
Hypnosis
anyone's
Mike.
covered Hypnosis Mike
Yeah, I've talked about
outside of like the
Hypnosis Mike being
previews stuff.
popular.
Yeah.
It's like, but I haven't. But yeah, he did the main character in High School Girl, if I remember correctly. So,
And
but yeah,
then Sakamoto Maya is here in a role that's well, that's a spoiler. We haven't gotten to that far. Whatever. Yeah,
Yes.
very cool. And then the main, I would say the main male lead is also the second prince of Panacorda Kingdom, who was the one who was all like, "Oh, I'm so excited to meet you." Philia is Takeya Sato. Who are you? Uh, I don't know any of these roles off the top of my head. Remonster. Oh, Remonster. Hell yeah. How? What does it go? What is it? What? How does it go near?
What? The
The
King
Remonster
Kong, the
opening.
King Kong line,
Yeah.
looking
whatever it
on.
was. I forget what the actual lyric was.
Ding dong, like King Kong or something like that.
Something stupid like that.
And like the dude, the creator of it was like, isn't his like name literally like AK-74 or some weird shit like name, like the
Fucking
rapper name? Yeah.
so
And
dumb.
then he teamed up with he teamed up with a K-pop band. It's like okay, but
So yeah, and then
yeah,
I guess the opening is I Toka by Riria. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's an opening. All right. And then Sister by Juan is the ED.
Any
okay.
good?
Do
Anyway,
you,
they're fine. Are they opening of the season? I don't know.
All right.
No.
okay.
I don't know, Near. I don't think they can. I don't think they can compete with G Quax's opening and ending. It's no plasma and no.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
gonna have
care
a very
anymore.
hot take that Toast is not gonna like when I cover my
I think
series.
I think yeah, I think I'm gonna have a hot take too. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you're wrong. But yeah, overall, I will say that I quite like this series a bit.
Okay.
It's refreshing to see a take where, like I mentioned before, there's two stories in this. One is with the Philia, and that's the typical story of, oh, I'm learning how to be loved in a place where, after being in a place where basically no one loved me, or almost no one loved me, but now everyone loves me, and I'm trying to become more human. And then there's a second plot happening back in with her sister, where her sister's like, "Oh, I hate everyone in this kingdom. I'm going to take revenge, but I'm still a saint, so I'm going to do it in my own saintly way, like else and whatnot." So that plot over there is happening too. I don't want to spoil too much because whenever I have a counter series I like, I don't like to reveal the plot too much because it's you should check it out for yourself. I will say though that this is 12 episodes, and I think episode 10 just came out. So, and from what I'm seeing, this will nicely wrap up between 12 episodes. So there won't be a second series of this. But yeah, I like the characters in this are fairly well written for the main cast. Mia is a subversion of the trope where, oh, I'm plotting against my sister and I'm going to take over the kingdom. Where it turns out she actually likes her sister, and she was like, for the sake of my sister who was thrown out, I'm going to take revenge on the kingdom. So it's nice to see a female villainess who's actually a good guy. And I kind of will say that compared to Philia, who's the main character, she's kind of more interesting to watch because the whole revenge plot is quite a bit more interesting. How she's more outspoken and more uh, I don't want to say conniving and scheming in her ways to get revenge because to on the outside she's just acting super bubbly to Prince Julius like, oh, that's cool, my fiance. And then she uses her puppy eyes to be like, oh, please let me do this. And and then the stupid prince is all like, okay, anything for you, Mia, because he's so deeply in love with her for some reason. Maybe because he sees Mia as somewhat weak. Like, oh, I can boss her around because she's a woman. And she's not strong-willed unlike her sister, what Mia actually is.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why I say Mia is more interesting to watch. Because over there with Philia, what Philly is doing is, as the saint, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put around the barriers around the kingdom and whatnot." But also, there's this. It's more slice of life, like you said over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
It's more
seems a little bit
slow
more
paced.
like a
So
soul life kind of thing, as opposed to her sister kind of being like, okay, I'm gonna continue this initial premise and like do something off of it, riff something off of it.
yeah, there's two stories. If you don't like one, you might like the other. Me personally, I
Mhm.
like both. But and then they're both connected by this overall story that the reason why there are saints all over the is it the country? All over the countries is that there's a great demon from coming from the underworld who was trying to take over the world, but the previous this legendary saint Fiana, voiced by Sakamoto Maya, which is a spoiler, but whatever. Thanks, anime list. She sealed him away because he was like the most powerful demon. She sealed his soul in a ring. Near. Guess what the name of the demon is? The demon of the ring. It's not Solomon.
Um,
What's the most popular demon after Solomon? Who's associated with rings?
um,
It's
I don't
like
know.
literally the ring, like Sauron kind of shit, or
Saruman?
really.
Like, what do you mean?
Don't- You know King Solomon and his Book of Demons? No.
Yeah, I don't
You-
remember the
Off the top of
demons
your head, it's
off
the
the top
most
of my
popular demon
like
off the
Belphegor?
top of
No.
no, no, Belphegor is the funny one.
Oh,
It's Asmodeus near.
oh.
So yeah,
okay.
so the whole reason there are saints is that they're preventing the demon Asmodeus from resurrecting by constructing all these barriers around their kingdoms.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay.
so they're connected by this overall plot, and 10 episodes in, the plot is almost reaching its, but it's crux. So yeah,
Climax.
G-Quux, yes.
Sure.
But overall, I really like how each character is written. The whole thing with my parents, the whole thing. Well, other than the villains are kind of meh because the second appearance is written pretty badly, but it's as expected. No one cares about the villains in these types of stories. It's more like, oh, they hate women. They're treated as inferior. That they don't like being seen as inferior to this person, so they act really brash and not very smart. They're stupid, and then the parents are the same way. But then when you get to the protagonists of the series, they're written very well compared to that. I guess that would be that's my only minor -1 point from that. The villains are stereotypical villains, but everyone else is written very well compared to them.
Okay.
So yeah, overall, I quite like this series, and I quite like the manga when I read it, and I'm glad that the adaptation is good as well. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So overall, solid 9 out of 10. What's the
All
score on my
right.
anime list?
It's probably
Seven
like a
point
7.5. Yeah.
7.48. That means it's good, right? It's fairly good.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
people like it a
Generally
decent amount,
positively
yes.
received. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, I would highly recommend it. It's very good. Probably, I want to say this is a contender for best anime of the season. Yeah, that's not the obvious.
Wow.
It's
That's
my
that's high. That's quite a high claim.
of best anime of the season. That's not the standard anime
That's not the
contender of
other
the season.
standard best animes
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
the
that's not
season.
like the other like 5 potential best of
Yeah.
the season animes.
So what do I call that? Hidden gem, hidden gem of the season.
Oh,
Sure.
what are the hidden gems of the season? Okay, okay.
Get it?
That makes
Hidden
a little
gem
bit more
because of
sense.
the kingdom of Jertonia. Get it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Well,
I highly recommend you watch it for yourself. I believe the story will wrap up in 12 episodes and there won't be a second season of this. So yeah, check it out.
well, thank you very much, Toast. And again, this was the what is it? The Two Perfect Saint, right? The Two Perfect Saint. Toss aside by my fiance and sold to another kingdom, also known as 完璧すぎて可愛げがないこんにゃく破棄された聖女は隣国に売られる also known as 完璧聖女 originally I believe a light novel, now it became or I guess not okay, right? Like not light novel, and now it became an anime. So if you do like this sort of interesting mix of stories, please do check this out.
I will say though, as one final thing,
Hmm.
is it as good as A Saints of Magic is Everywhere? I would say so far, yes,
Yes, no,
because
okay.
because it will be contained within 12 episodes, and The Saints Magic is Everywhere is getting a second season. Did it come out already? I don't remember. Fire, check it out.
Well, I'll look into it. But anyways, thank you very much, Toast.